Hey everyone, welcome to this training. It's great to have you all here, and I think today we're going to get through a lot. So I'm going to jump right in and talk about today's workshop. So today's workshop is for any of those, if you're a brand new business, you haven't looked into the legal side of business at all, this is for you. You want to get it right from the start. That is so important. If your business is growing and you want to make sure that it's legally legit and protected as you grow, then this is also for you. So it's not just for anyone who's new to business. It's those that have been going for a while and are finally turning their attention to solid legal foundation. So today is not legal advice, it's legal information, and I'll show you how to legally protect your business. Today you'll get a lot of content and actionable steps to protect your business, so it might be handy to have a pen and paper. And I think it's important to tell you a little bit about me. So, a quick introduction. I am a lawyer and turned to entrepreneurship a few years ago. I have 13 years of experience practicing law, and I started the Untamed Lawyer back in 2022. So I worked for the police for many years. I worked for trade unions. I worked for the government. And then I eventually made quite a pivot and started working for a marketing company. So I spent a few years in house within the marketing sector. I started a coaching business back in 2021, and that's when I moved my family from Scotland to Barbados. So I'm a single mum of three, and we still live in Barbados. In the online business community, when I had my coaching business, I was constantly being asked for legal help. So I was being asked, questions from other business owners, other coaches, and that's when I decided to pivot once again from coaching and focus on the legal side of business. So my very first product was a legal bundle specifically for coaches. But as you know, if you're in the online space, a lot of these kind of businesses overlap. We all have something in common, and that's where the other products grew from. So a lot of the questions I was being asked were the same across the board. What contracts do I need for my business? How do I stop someone from copying my work? What do I do if a client doesn't pay on time? Those are questions that I think every business would want the answer to. So what I did was I had this idea of creating this legal bundle. I had a Google search. I had a look to see who else was doing it. Quite a few American lawyers were well ahead of the game, and they were offering products similar to this. Um, there were quite a few lawyers in the USA offering legal templates and the packages that I offer, but I only found about three other lawyers in the UK who were offering a similar service, not even the same. So I looked at what my peers were doing, what they were offering, and basically I created my own products. And what I did was look at what they were selling, and I would do the same but better. So I would add way more contracts, way more documents, and guides and checklists, and I would price it a lot cheaper. So I made sure that my products were way more affordable, and that's what I like to stick to, is that legal is affordable. And that's also where my price guarantee comes into play. So if you can find a similar product cheaper, then I will refund the difference. That is how confident I am. So today we're going to pack in as much as we can, and you can walk away with much more information, be much more confident in your business after today. The first thing that I think I want to talk to you about, and that I think is important, is your mindset. So, mindset is important, and there's a very clear mindset shift in your business when you take it seriously and you see it as something worth protecting. It's not just your little business, as a lot of people will probably refer to it as. It's not just a side hustle, it's not just a hobby or, something that is going on in the background. If it's not already, then it's going to be your main source of income. It's your passion, it's something you're building. And hopefully, if you're anything like me, you want something that you can pass on to your kids. That's what I want to build. So, first thing to consider is your chosen business entity. Should you register your business? What is the right way? How do you protect yourself and your assets? Even if you have already registered your business and you're taking this workshop today, I'll teach you how to present your business legally online. How do you show up legally online? That is the next question. I'll talk you through policies, documents that are legally required, contracts, what do you need, why do you need them, and how they can totally save your backside. Copycats. I think we all have the same worry when it comes to copycats. How do you stop the copycats and how do you best protect your intellectual property? We will go over that today. Now, quick story. I have had my content copied, but I have also accidentally copied someone else online. So I ran a free boot camp and I named it, what did I name it? Legal boot camp. Something that was so generic, I didn't think it would be infringing on anyone's IP, but it was. So I got an email from another lawyer saying, look, I trademarked this. Can you stop using it? And it was a very friendly email, and I very quickly changed the name of my boot camp. But it just shows that something as generic as that can be someone's IP. So it's very easy to do. And obviously, there's people out there who know they're doing it, and we want to keep an eye on them too. So I'll teach you how to navigate the intricacies of IP. And yes, lesson learned for me, never assume. So I've had one of my guides stolen before and it was sold completely unchanged. So I had to take action. And now, because I've experienced this and I've learned how to deal with it, I can guide other business owners on what to do in these circumstances. How would you feel if you could relax and know that your business legal needs were completely taken care of? Now, imagine feeling that you've got your legal foundation rock solid and your business is legally legit. You can focus on scaling your business and have good relationships with clients. Just having that confidence that you and your business are legally protected. Now, how do we start? That's why we are here today. So, the first step I said is mindset. That confident mindset is about knowing that you and your business are legally protected. And being legally legit gives you that confidence in your business and it does shift your mindset. Proper contracts and having a properly registered business make you feel legally legit and professional. So, not getting legally legit can also hurt your business. Now, feedback that I received from one client was that she lost out on a high ticket client because they didn't feel confident paying a large sum of money because she didn't provide them with a proper contract and they lost confidence in her. So, having a solid legal foundation definitely takes you from hobby or side hustle to professional business and allows your clients to have confidence in you. They feel like they are in safe hands, and having a legal system in place for your business is also how you get paid on time because you have the mechanisms in place to enforce that. You attract and work with the right clients and you avoid those that are going to become a legal nightmare, as the right client won't be afraid to sign a rock solid contract. Step 2, let's talk about selecting the correct business entity for you. Now, personal liability and protection is the thing to consider here. Liability means separating you from your business entity so that should something happen, like you get sued or threatened with legal action or a debt or some other liability, then only the company assets are at risk, not you as a person or your home, your car, your bank account, your joint bank accounts. Some people say, well, they don't care about that because they've got nothing worth protecting right now. But what I would say is focus on the business that you're building rather than the business you have. So you want to be able to buy yourself things, you want to have assets, and that's the sort of business that you're aiming to have. So don't plan for today, plan for the business that you're going to have. So what is the difference between these different formations that are on screen? Sole trader, partnership, limited company. Not all companies operate in the same way, and each type of business has its own advantages and drawbacks. A sole trader, this type of business is owned and managed by one individual. I bet there's a few sole traders watching this right now. So there's no legal distinction between the owner and the company, meaning that all the debts and after tax profits are personally yours. However, this is also called unlimited liability. Sole trader businesses are really easy to establish and discontinue. They are subject to relatively few regulations. They give the owner freedom to make decisions and typically have relatively low running costs. The owner is responsible for keeping day to day financial records, but hands on responsibility for the end of year accounts should still be passed off to a professional accountant. On the downside, sole trader businesses can be difficult to keep afloat, and owners will often work long hours and take few holidays. I think a lot of us can relate to that. There's nobody to share responsibility with either, meaning that businesses' weaknesses can be exposed and lack of support can sometimes become an issue. Now, partnerships are very similar to sole traders in the sense that they are subject to unlimited liability. But partnerships differ in that they involve two or more people pooling their expertise to own and manage the business together. Professional service providers such as dentists, doctors, lawyers, and accountants often fall into the partnership category. Now, a deed of partnership usually states how much capital each individual has contributed, how profits and losses are to be shared, and which partner is tasked with bookkeeping. Each partner pays tax and national insurance on their individual profit. So, partnerships usually offer the advantages of shared responsibility, reduced time pressure for everyone, and an increased level of financial clout and specialisation. However, making decisions can be difficult. What's more, one partner may feel that another isn't putting in the same effort or maybe earning a disproportionate amount of the profit. The next formation is something that I think we're all familiar with, and that is the limited company. Now, there are two types of limited company: a private limited company and a public limited company. So, the former are often small businesses, like many of us here, that don't trade on the stock exchange, while the latter are usually big, well known brand names that do. So, unlike sole traders and partnerships, these businesses are registered at Companies House and they have their own legal rights and obligations. So ownership is divided into equal parts using shares, and anyone who owns one or more share is typically a shareholder. Limited companies offer limited liability, so that's the main attraction here. So that means that the business, rather than its owners or managers who enter into contracts, they are entering into contracts on behalf of the company. It's not the person that's entering into the contract. So the company takes debts, profits, and is liable to prosecution if a criminal offence is committed. A limited company's owner isn't necessarily involved in the day to day running of the business either, unless they are elected to the board of directors. Now, this is one that I put in here because I think it relates to a lot of us who are watching this. There are other business structures, but I feel like we need to talk about freelancer, or also known as a contractor, consultant, or self employed. So, some of the other business types still have to be registered, and other structures do exist, but the one that's most relevant, I think, is the freelancer. These are individuals who have skills, knowledge, and experience in a particular field, and they will charge organisations or individuals for their services. Freelancing is deemed as a form of self employment. Freelancers lend their skills and talents to a number of clients on a flexible basis. They aren't employed by a company or committed to a single customer. So, freelancing versus contract work, what is the difference between freelancing and contracting work? Freelancers and contractors are self employed workers who provide services and carry out projects for clients. Freelancers can either be sole traders or work through their own limited companies, but neither benefit from employment rights from the clients that they work with, and both are responsible for managing their business administration and their own taxes. Now, let's talk about your online presence and if you have a website. Some people watching this will not have a website, but this can also apply to any groups that you have, any pages online, landing pages, things like that. And you may want to have a website at one point or a landing page, so it's worth definitely tuning into this. So, ask yourself, is your business website legal? And how do you know if it's legal? So, now I'll discuss the legal requirements for having a website or a landing page. As a UK registered business, you will need to disclose certain information about your company on your website. This is a legal requirement, and failure to comply can result in fines, action taken by the regulators, customers or consumer protection bodies, and damage to your reputation. So, one thing we always get told as lawyers is ignorance is not an excuse to the law. So, you cannot turn around at any point and say, I didn't know. It's your job to know. So, the information required on a website includes company name, registered number, place of registration, registered office, contact details, including an email address, and details of how to contact the business by non electronic means, the VAT number if you have one, and any details of any trade body or regulator, any registration that you have with someone like that should be on your website. For sole traders and partnerships, you must display the address of the primary place of business. This information doesn't have to be on every single page of your website, but it must be easily found. So, for example, you might want to put it on the Contact Us page or About Us page. Some websites have this information in the footer section of each page, but you must also publish on your website, and this is when we get to the legal documents, a privacy notice, and that explains what personal data you collect and how you use it. A cookie disclosure, this will explain how you use cookies on your site, and a disclaimer to outline liability for the use of your website and its information. So, those are your three main documents. Under privacy laws, you must tell people if you set cookies on your website, unless those cookies are essential to provide an online service at someone's request. For example, to remember what's in their online basket or to ensure security in online banking. So, your cookie statement can be a standalone page on your website, or it can be included within your privacy policy. The Information Commissioner's Office provides more information if you want to go and look it up about similar cookies and technologies, but that is the status quo at the moment. So, selling to consumers, if you sell online, you must also include on your website terms and conditions. Terms and conditions of use, delivery and returns policy, these are all required as part of the consumer protection regulations. Now, as a website operator, you will also have a legal duty to address any web accessibility issues on your website. So let's dig into this a little bit more. The disclaimer that you would have on your website is basically the idea is that you can't or shouldn't be blamed if you had the right website disclaimer up. So it will state who you are, what you do, and what you don't do. The terms and conditions is basically the rules of your website. So your purchase process, and for your business generally, it'll explain how you operate. You will let your visitors and clients know your refund policy, how to legally share any of your content, your intellectual property rights, and your payment policy. These should be added to your site as 3 separate links, and these must be on any page that you use for Facebook ads. So it's not just your website. Like I mentioned earlier, if you're trying to run Facebook ads, Facebook will reject your ad if you don't have these in place. So it must also be a real privacy policy because Facebook does check this and they will also reject your ad. You can also add these to landing pages, put them in any Facebook groups that you have or any online groups, and you can add them as links in any membership group. So it doesn't necessarily need to be attached to a website. Now let's talk about your contracts. So potential clients will quickly realize that you're the real deal and not just someone they can try before they buy and then skip out on. They may have been someone who would cancel their card or not pay on time, but if they see a contract, they're going to think twice about trying any funny business. So a well-drafted contract sets out clear boundaries. It stops you from being the bad guy, as you can refer back to the contract if someone asks for something that's not in the contract. For example, if you're a social media manager and the client asks for 10 posts, but your contract agreed 7 posts and they're trying to get these extra 3 out of you, instead of being the bad guy and saying you're not doing it, you can just point them back to the contract. So if someone asks for their money back, then again, you don't have to panic about that. You have a solid contract to enforce and refer back to. So again, you don't have to be the bad guy here. That's what us lawyers are for. So let's talk about what is a solid contract. So a solid contract will ensure that you can collect any missed payments and you can defend yourself if a client accuses you of not delivering. Contracts must be consistent and have clear language. When I see people try to make their own contracts, you can run into some trouble when you don't properly understand legal terms or use clear language. This can result in what I have seen happen before, inconsistent terms, meaning one paragraph will set out one thing, further on, another paragraph can contradict that and say the opposite. So you need to have the right clauses in there to protect you, and it does protect your client also. So if a client comes along, they have confidence in you because a contract's essentially there to protect both parties. Now, a favourite, stopping the copycat. What is a copyright notice? So the copyright symbol, that is what you see on the screen here, is the letter C in a circle. You can mark your work with the copyright symbol. You can mark your work now without doing any registration. So your name and the year of creation is all you need with that C, that copyright mark. So whether you mark the work or not, it doesn't affect the level of protection you have. But a copyright does protect your work and stop others from using it without your permission. So, how do you get a copyright? Well, you get a copyright protection automatically. So, you don't have to apply or pay a fee or anything like that. There isn't a register of copyright works in the UK. You automatically get copyright protection when you create something. So, that could be, and it has to be original. So, an original literary, dramatic, musical, artistic work, anything like an illustration, photography, if you create software, web content, sound, music, film, television, any recordings like that, that's your copyright. You created that. So, how do you use the copyright mark? Again, you do not have to use it. I do suggest that you do though. So, you can add it to your freebies, you can add it to any ebooks, handouts, and also add it to the footer of your website. So, use the C symbol. You can use this, like I said, without registering, followed by the year of first publication. So if I wrote an ebook in 2018, then I would use the year 2018. And this would then establish that I wrote an ebook back in 2018 so that it's actually easier to enforce. If someone copied me in 2024, I can refer back to I created this in 2018. So the owner or the author can be you, or if your business is registered, then it can be your business. So instead of putting your own name in there, you can put the business name. A more enforceable way would be to go down the legal route and register with the IPO, the Intellectual Property Office, and that would be venturing into trademark registration, which might be worth considering for some of you, and I do have a full training module on that. So, trademark is not always necessary though. I have a whole training that will walk you through this, so you don't need to hire a lawyer. I also have some free guides, so you can come to that decision whether it's time for a trademark or not. But a trademark is a form of intellectual protection and is usually used for forms of intellectual property that contribute to identity or branding. So the scope of what can actually be a trademark is rather broad, as there are many things that can qualify as a trademark. It can be scents, symbols, letters, numbers, pictures, phrases, colours, and logos. They can all be trademarked. So a good example is Mo Farah here. His signature gesture of placing his arms above his head in an arch position became so famous, it was trademarked by Farah, so consumers could identify that anything with the Mobot was linked to Mo Farah himself. So there's no requirement to trademark your business name in the UK. However, having a registered business name does not permit exclusive rights to use the name like a trademark would. This is because a registered business name does not mean you possess ownership of that name. It certainly helps if you ever do get into legal hot water, but a trademark is going to really cement that. So if you're interested in having exclusive ownership over your business name, then you should look into getting the name trademarked. The fee for the online application is about £170. It takes about 3 to 4 months to process, but that £170, that doesn't pay for a lawyer to actually put together the trademark application. That's just the one-off fee that you pay to the Intellectual Property Office. So I've really given you a lot of information there, and what we've covered so far is this mindset shift of legally protecting your business and making it a legitimate business. We've talked about how to register the right business entity for you. I have a free guide that I can give you on that, and that will talk you through your options so you can better decide which one is the best fit for you. How a properly lawyer drafted contract can save you. I think we've made that clear now in the contract section. And I do have a contract guide. If you are not at a point yet where you're ready to purchase a contract from me, there's a guide there. We know now what your website needs to be legally protected, and we've talked about preventing the copycat. So I feel like we've removed some of that fear of establishing a legal foundation, and I hope it's much clearer to all of you, where you see your business and what you want for your business. So it's time to stop the Google and cross my fingers method of legal and hope that no one notices that you've borrowed a privacy policy and stuck it on your website. It's time to get your business legally legit. So when I first started thinking about what products to offer, like I say, I created a product for coaches specifically. The Legally Legit bundle contains all of the website legal documents that we talked about: cancellation policy, service contracts, client contracts, testimonial release, business checklists, release and disclaimers. Everything's in there. And I based the Legally Legit bundle on the bundles that I'd seen other lawyers selling. So those bundles are on sale for well over £1,000. And I've made sure that my bundle has way more documents, way more contracts for a fraction of that cost. So the online legal bundle contains the documents legally required of every business that has an online presence, basically. This is like a smaller version of the Legally Legit bundle. And the refund resolution bundle, this I have reduced it all the way down to £19. So peace of mind for you guys if you have to deal with any sort of refund requests. So if you hop onto the website, you'll see the more specialised legal bundles. Like I say, I started off making products just for coaches. And then I decided to sort of branch out. So obviously we've got creatives, and I've niched down, made a bundle specifically for creatives, and it's the same for social media managers or social media agencies, virtual assistants. I've made legal bundles that tailor specifically to the type of work that you guys are all doing. So have a look on the website. If you've got any questions, please do reach out. These bundles help to legitimise your business. They will be, there to be used if you want to hire a subcontractor, if you want to onboard clients. Make sure you get paid on time. Make sure your business is legally compliant in all these areas. Each package contains the legally legit essentials that we've spoken about in the other bundle, as well as the tailored contracts and documents for the specialised areas that we've spoken about. And one of my favourite testimonials, because this just encompasses what I'm trying to do for anyone who buys the legal bundles. So this was from a good friend now who has worked with me since the beginning, Claudia. She said, getting my business legally legit with the Legally Legit bundle really increased my credibility. Clients tell me the website and contracts give them confidence and peace of mind because it looks so professional. I've actually had new clients tell me they were interested in working with me specifically because of how professional my process is. I was worried about losing sales because of having a contract to sign, but instead it was actually the opposite. I've had 4 people actually say they appreciate the contract and they've signed up, and it's made them feel better and about how prepared she was as well. So I'm happy with feedback like that. I'm also happy with any feedback, like if there's a document that you think could be in the bundle, happy to add that in. So yeah, it's always a work in progress. Anyone that purchases the legal bundles also has access to ask any questions. You get added to a group. So once a week we go into the group and it's useful to see what questions other people are asking and see the answers because, yeah, it's a big, big area. But hopefully, these legal bundles have made it just that bit more easy to manage and understand. So, thank you for sticking with me. I do believe that's half hour well spent because you should be more prepared in your business now. Hopefully, I'll be seeing a lot of you again soon.